YouTube. My name is James. Just wanted to, this is how I make a little bit of part-time income. I throw papers. I know it's a little bit dark. I'm gonna pull up to the gas station and get gas here in a second, so you all will be able to see the light. But anybody looking to make a little bit of extra income, I've always done odd jobs and things here and there, but throwing papers between the hours of typically anywhere between like 12 and 7, depending on where you're at in your local area. But this is something that you definitely all can do. Man, it's a little bit better. So to show you my car here, papers everywhere. Most of the contractors typically throw papers on contract, so 7 days a week. Unfortunately, I actually work for the company, so I only work about 4 to 5 days a week. But gas up, and we will get some. I'll show you on my route, show you, a little bit of throwing, and we'll go from there. Probably right around about an hour, but I'll show you different parts of routes that I'm throwing. So right now, I'm just driving to the route. Just to give you my location. So I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona, and I'll be throwing 2 different routes tonight. We actually just had some snow, believe it or not, just a couple days ago. So I'll probably show you a little bit of footage of that within the video. But just driving to my route now. Both of the routes from the distribution center are right around about 15 to 20 minutes. So, and I only live about 10 minutes from the distribution center, so I'm not far. But on the way to the route now. Typically when I'm throwing papers, I'll use this time a little bit more talking, because I know when I start throwing the route, it may be difficult to throw the route, talk, and do that. But typically, you have like a tablet, which, let's see if I can show you here. So you'll have a tablet that you can use. I recommend it highly. That's what keeps you efficient, time sensitive. Great thing about the paper routes for me is that it gives you that extra income. Like I said, I'm not a contractor. I actually work for the paper company. But the great thing is, believe it or not, people still get papers delivered. So this is a job that's available across all of the country. A lot of times you could actually find ads maybe on Craigslist. That's where I found the job at for me, Craigslist. You can look for overnight work. You can also look for early morning work. We have a lot of contractors. Of course, being a contractor, you do it 7 days, but we have a lot of contractors that have, very small routes, maybe just 1 route, to some contractors that actually have 3 or 4 routes that they do a night. And the pay is warranted. We have some people that throw papers for a living. They do it full time. They make great income. And then of course, like myself, I have a day job, full-time job. So with me working, like I said, I typically work 3 to 5 days a week. This is really, really good supplement income. You know, it's the extra money for the household, so I enjoy, you know, doing it. And like I said, it just gives you a little bit more flexibility too. It doesn't take away too much family time for me. I may sleep an extra hour here and there, but for the most part, you know, I'm still able to, you know, do stuff with the family and not take away, you know, extra time like during the day. So this is one of the things that I like doing. I'd recommend anybody that's probably driven for like Lyft or Uber. I actually have done both of them. I'd recommend, you know, possibly maybe looking at this. It just really depends on what you're looking for, you know, as far as income and why you're doing it. Like I said, it's a pretty good gig for me and my family. I like it, and I will bring you all back on as soon as I start my route. Probably the first gate I pull up to, I'll bring it back up. Bye. Alright, so see if I can tilt this just a little bit. Get a little bit different angle. That's a little weird. I get a little bit better angle, hopefully. Turn down the radio. Tilted to the side. I think that would be pretty. Like I was saying before, you know, Sundays can be a little tricky sometimes. I may deliver to these houses throughout the week, but then if they only get like a Sunday paper, then I'm not used to it. Trying to give you the best angle possible. We'll keep it like this. We'll see how it turns out. I don't want to mess the video up. Keep it straight like that. We'll tilt it a little bit to the side. I have a big phone, so. Like I said, I usually, when I'm throwing paper, I usually do throw my hazard lights on. I mean, now being that it's like about 5:50, people do normally start getting up around this time, believe it or not. So you may actually see cars on the road. It is Sunday, so you may not see as many, but around this time, this is typically the time that you would see it. So. So I know there's some stuff that I'm probably repeating, but again, just want you all to get the best sense of what this job is, and understand the details of it. Now, what I will say is, let's talk about the car. So, like I said, I drive a Pathfinder. It's 2015, so not a new car, but it is a newer car, and it does great doing this. This is not. I have another vehicle too for my family, so our family, we have 2 vehicles. So I would say definitely take into consideration your car. You want to take into consideration maybe the mileage, because there may be routes that are pretty good routes, but you may drive a lot. For instance, I had one route where I think I only drove like a total of like 15 miles, but it was but most of the route I had to do a lot of walking. So it really depends sometimes. That may be, hey, just 15 miles on the car, 15, 20 miles is not a big deal. But then you may have some routes where you would definitely supersede that. It may even be to the point where you may drive 50 to 60 miles a day. So you just don't, of course, if you're a contractor, that's something that you definitely want to take into consideration. Of course, you can definitely, claim this mileage in your taxes. So of course that's, going to be deductible, but having a good vehicle, having a reliable vehicle is really, really good. It definitely helps out. I know most places that do hiring, if you contract, they do probably want to see that you have a clean driving record. And by clean, it doesn't necessarily mean like you can't have no tickets, but definitely like, no DUIs or DWIs, things like that, reckless driving, no one do that. But like I said, it really is a great job to have for, additional income. So this route that we're on now, like I said, I've thrown this route multiple times. Again, I'm just looking at the tablet here, making sure I don't miss anything. Still in the car, and like I said, it's still daybreak. I'm definitely gonna try to get some video. But just know, you're getting the majority of the time, you're gonna be throwing papers at night. I mean, it's gonna be rare to be throwing them during the day. Unless you just have so many routes to where, they take up your day, but more than likely you'll be doing a lot of these papers starting like the video, comment. Again, here to answer any questions anybody has in reference to drawing for a newspaper. Trying to think of some other stuff that I can think of that you may want to take into consideration. Yeah, the maintenance on your car, you definitely want to keep it up, because like I said, with me being an assistant district manager, I'm usually covering routes and going routes, so you want to make sure you're getting your brakes and stuff done. You're going to have to get the oil changed. Mileage wise, it should still be the same, but timing, of course, it'll be probably quicker, because you're going to put a lot more miles on your car a lot quicker than you probably normally would. But you just keep your oil change, good to go. I highly recommend going to, because you do a lot of starting and stopping, and I have had my brakes checked a little bit more often, but the great thing is I go to, did I miss one? I go to a place where you pay, like, they do lifetime brakes. So pretty much what happens is you pay the one time to get the brakes done, like really, the front and back, and then what they do is you can they'll just charge labor for the life, pretty much after you do the brakes the one time. So I'd recommend just doing that in general, not even if you don't, throw papers, but just in general, I just think it's just something cool to do and something cool to have, because you don't have to spend $160, $170 on brakes every single time. Going on 6 in the morning, still dark out here. Still not many people on the road. And again, it's Sunday, so a lot of people sleeping a little bit later on Sunday, so I should be pretty good as far as not having other cars on the road. Again, I'm just looking at my tablet as I'm going. Easiest way to throw these papers. So it's probably one of the better setups I like. Now I do know with me at first, when I first started, I actually, because usually most companies are going to have some type of route list or some type of mapping that they use to go by. And I actually printed out the papers the first couple of times just to kind of get a good gist of where I'm going, where I'm at. I use Adobe to open up the map, to open up the route list that we use. It just makes it so much easier. You can actually edit on there too. So one of the things that I do also is, if the route may be out of sequence, or you've had multiple stops added, it gives me the ability to take my notes, and then of course when I go back to the office I can edit the route. But what I will do is probably about the last maybe 15 minutes of the route. Like I said, it should be daybreak. and I'll record a little bit inside the car just so you can still see, you know, me throwing. And I will also go ahead and show you a little bit of the outside, of course, like I say, because it'll be during the day. All right, until next time. Try to put the camera like right in front, so here momentarily I'll be coming up to my first route to my first community. Some of these homes out here are amazing. Hopefully I'll capture some on video, but for the most part I'm just going to try to continuously throw the papers just so you all can get a good idea or a sense of, you know, what's going on. And like I said, I'll try to do different parts of different routes. This route in particular I've done multiple times, so unless it's like a new stop, typically I can flow through this route pretty good. This will also give you an idea of like what different routes can look like. There really is no like one route that looks the same, but the great thing is you have some routes that are within neighborhoods. You have being here in Arizona, there's a lot of gated communities, so of course, you know, we'll, you know, see some gated communities where like the sequence of numbers is really like there's no set number of how many or how much each house, you know, you may go from addresses that start with like 4 and then they go up 4, so 4, 8, you know, 12, 16. In this first community, it's not like that. So it will be a little bit difficult. Some of the other things you got to think about is, you know, how good can you see the house numbers. Only thing on my route, on these two routes that I'm doing today, there are no apartments, so I'm not doing any apartments. Typically apartments sometimes can be bad because you have to do a lot of walking, depending on how they are structured. But for the most part, like I said, we'll go ahead and get started. As you can see, I'm rolling up to this community called Candlewood. I typically do drive on both sides of the road just because it's a lot easier. Of course, nobody's on the road usually within their neighborhoods at this time of night. Still want to be careful, so. You all may hear a little bit of wind because now I'm going to have both of my windows down. So, see about what's going on. I'm going to, hopefully I can probably flip the camera around for a little bit. Just so you all can kind of see like what I'm doing inside the car. I don't drive with the light on inside the car, but hopefully I can at least get maybe like 1 or 2 minutes, just so that way you all can kind of see, hey, this is what's going on. I've trained a lot of people doing this job, and a lot of people, of course, they think first thing is like, oh, this is easy, not a problem at all, I can kill it. That's probably attributed to, you know, me making it look easy sometimes. But it is something that you have to get used to. A lot of people get frustrated. I always tell people don't get frustrated. Just know that it's a part of the process. And then once you learn it, you're good to go. So, and we'll throw our first paper. You'll probably hear some of the papers. Wish I can get my camera. It'd be really cool if I could get my camera to show some of the. Yeah, it'll probably be pretty hard for me to get the camera to show some of the papers that I'm throwing. But just keep it rolling here for about 10 minutes, 10, 12 minutes. I do listen to the radio in the background, usually talk radio.
26 points. Third-ranked Cavaliers go into number 8.
Keep me up with what's going on.
Cardinals 64 to 52 fourth straight win to ensure the ACC lead. Number 8 North
I do drive with my hazards on. Everybody doesn't do that, but I do it just because it's, you know, anytime you're in most of these communities, I mean, you come enough to where they know, hey, it's the paper guy. So typically, it's not too big of a deal, typically. I've been doing this job going on 6 months now, and I've done many communities. I think I've only talked to maybe one security person ever. So.
77 to 59 ends up being the final. And straight ahead as they can continue to catch you up on Sports Center all night. Can Duke make the adjustment without Zion? This is Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio.
That's when the Michelin Man is on your side, helping you see better and drive safer with new Michelin premium wiper blades, designed with exclusive SmartFlex technology. Our frameless wheel design.
Give you an idea, so I guess I could talk a little bit while we're driving. Some of the paper companies that you probably want to look for. So you have like the big media companies. So you have, I know like the Net is one of them, Washington Post. The papers that I deliver are the Arizona Republic. I also deliver the Wall Street Journal, New York Times. Of course, you know, the bulk of these papers out here are Arizona Republic. Sunday paper, there's no Wall Street, so no Wall Street Journals on Sunday, but that's one of the papers that I deliver.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit
I'm going to reverse here real quick.
Do you have a family? Would you like to help make sure they'll be taken care of if anything were to happen to you? If you answered yes, you probably need life insurance.
We're good.
Now, do you think life insurance is expensive? If you answered yes to that too, you definitely need to give AIG Direct a call. We can find you $250,000 policy for just $14 a month, which means you could save hundreds of dollars a year. Call us now for a free, no-obligation quote. 1-800-700-9920. Since 1995, we've helped millions of people find out if they could save up to 70% on their term life insurance. See how affordably we can help you protect your family. Call AIG Direct now for your free quote. 1-800-700-9920. You can save up to 70%. That's 1-800-700-9920. 1-800-700-9920.
Yeah, this job was surprising. I didn't really know how many people actually still get the paper delivered.
A lot of you know me, but you may not know my name. I'm sildenafil, the active ingredient in that little blue pill. You know, that helps guys with erectile dysfunction. I'm really super excited.
Like I said earlier, I actually work for the paper company. I'm not an actual contractor. So, cool thing about contracting, I mean, you can pretty much determine your costs. Of course, you want to, you know, take things into consideration, like, you know, cost for gas. The type of vehicle you drive, of course. I have a Pathfinder, so it's not the best on gas. I do get mileage reimbursement. But I don't make a lot of money off of the gas. Now I do have a coworker, like he drives a Yaris, and he makes money from the gas because he can get almost, you know, he can get about 30 to 40 miles, depending on the neighborhood and where he's throwing. You get 30 to 40 miles a gallon. So of course for him, he definitely does make a little bit of money, but I don't really make that much money off of the extra gas. I mean, off of the expense for gas. So definitely want to make sure you have your vehicle and everything inspected. Another thing you want to make sure you do have is you want to make sure you have a flashlight. It is imperative. It's probably one of the critical things, and a good one too. You know, not a crappy one.
Have an unbreakable shell, premium 360-degree wheels, and an interior compression system, so you can pack more. Every suitcase comes with a lifetime guarantee and a 100-day trial. We make luggage that takes care of the details, so you're free to focus on
Don't
the
know
world
if you all
around
can hear the papers hitting the ground, but
But
if you hear that sound, that's what it is, papers hitting the ground.
Sports. That's code SPORTS at awaytravel.com. Awaytravel.com. Travel well. Get your high-energy college football talk by going off campus with Mark Packer. Weekday afternoons at 4 Eastern on ESPNU Radio, Sirius XM 84, and on the Sirius XM app.
See probably some of these trees and stuff out here down on the ground because when it snowed a couple days ago, you know, these trees aren't used to having a whole lot of weight on them. So a lot of these trees ended up just falling down. A lot of it looks like they've come through the community, cut them down and stuff. So
you know, doing what we're trying to do. You got to put forth the effort to win night in and night out.
great thing I like about this one route, you see some of the snow there, some of that white in there. One thing I do like about this route is, although you can get lost a little bit, all of the side streets, they only go but so far. So at the worst case scenario, you just go to a cul-de-sac and you go right back out to the main road. So a lot of times I don't do too many U-turns. I just go down to the end of the cul-de-sac, turn around. So, but time, having your car in a like all your papers in a good, organized manner will definitely equip you to get the job done a lot quicker.
Tuesday at 6:30 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN. Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Get triple action protection for optimal engine performance. Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. Thanks for listening to Sports Center all night on ESPN Radio, the app, Sirius XM Channel 80. I'm John Ryder. College basketball top-ranked Duke road test. They were taking on Syracuse on a Saturday. Duke playing their first full game. Spin out freshman Zion Williamson with some of that sprained right knee just under a minute to their loss to rival North Carolina on Wednesday night. On Saturday, Syracuse had the lead at the half, but then the Blue Devils would bounce back in the second half.
Howard looking for some space, knocked out against the by Reddish. O'Connell headed the other way and took it down. What a way to set a new career high. 118. Battle drive on Jones. Looks with the right hand off the back of the rim. No, with the rebound for Reddish. The outlet for Jones. A 2-on-1 with Barrett. The left-handed hammers.
Learfield IMG College, the call, number one Duke gets that Syracuse 75-65 freshman R.J. Barrett leading the Blue Devils with 30 points. Spoke with our own Maria Taylor after the victory.
All right, RJ, coming into this game, you knew that Zion will be on the bench alongside his 22 points. Did you feel as though you had to do even more, produce even more in this game to help your team?
Not really, it's really about our own team stepping up, and we really did that today.
You had your sixth 30-point game of the night or the season. What worked well for you offensively here?
I was getting the middle. My teammates were passing me the ball. They were hitting down their shots out there, so it made it a lot easier for me.
You know, Coach K told us that he pulled you guys aside as freshmen and kind of talked to you alone about moving forward without Zion being on the court. What was he trying to express to you guys?
Just to continue to be leaders, and we all have to do more. Really with them out, and that's what we did today.
R.J. Barrett, 30 points in a 10-point Duke win over Syracuse with Zion Williamson out with that knee injury. Head coach Mike Krzyzewski.
The last 48 hours, come on, everybody's got opinions about everything. It's not just playing, it's amateurs. And I mean, Thursday for me was one of the toughest 24 hours that I've had as a coach at Duke. Just one, getting over the psychological stuff that happened to our team. You know, we were not back. I met with almost every one of my guys, individuals, like, and the three of the freshmen together, just like, how did you feel? How do you feel now? And, you know, and while we're doing that other, you know, trying to handle all the, you know, whatever it is, and then come up with a game plan and travel, and so we just went through hell with 24 hours, you know, and I could depend on everybody.
Now it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. What about Coach K's strategy? And I'm Zion Williamson, ESPN's Jay Billis.
I do believe that Williamson will be back soon, but if he's not, having somebody like Joey Baker that come in, knock down shots, provide you someone else that can stretch the defense, maybe they can find something. And I think right now he's looking at a lot of different options as they get toward the end of the season, so that when Zion Williamson comes back, he comes back to a better team that has some more options as they go forward.
They said sometimes got reverse.
Nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable sports LTV network, Zion Williamson. Day to day with that knee injury. Next up for Duke, they visit 20th ranked Virginia Tech on Tuesday night. It's on ESPN TV. When the rankings come out on Sunday, will Duke still be number one despite their loss to North Carolina earlier in the week? Or will it be Gonzaga?
Ball's off the drive. Clark challenge. He comes away with the ball up the court. Baltimore.
Now, of course, you know Sunday papers because they have ads and stuff in them. Sunday papers typically in probably every city in the country is going to be your biggest paper. We all know it costs a little bit more, but that's where you get all your coupons. Different advertisements are in there. So that paper is usually the biggest. So typically, I throw a lot of the papers just in my car. I still organize most of them, but it's usually hard. It's a lot harder to organize. I usually have bins or bags that I usually carry them in. When I start my second route, I'll kind of show you how I had half of my car set up, just so you have an idea of, you know, what it is. But I'm gonna go ahead and continue throwing this route, and I will come back to you all in a moment. Alright, so I'm back in the dark again. Have a little bit of light there. So we're heading to the second route now. Got my car prepped and organized, ready to get these papers thrown. Right now it's about 5:40 in the morning. So of course, I mean, you can see it's still pretty dark outside. I have a little bit of light. I'm only about maybe like 5 or 6 minutes from the next route. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually, I'll probably bring you all back on. Hopefully, because during the day we had to go refill my coffee, and then you all hear me just boot up the teeth there. But it's been a pretty calm morning, nothing too crazy. Every once in a while you see deer, animals out here. I'm out here in Arizona, so you'll see a bobcat, mountain lion here and there sometimes. So where I deliver the papers are it's actually far north of Phoenix. So it's up in, anybody's familiar with Phoenix, it's up in the Scottsdale area, but it's the northern part. So going up toward Carefree. I'll record a little bit maybe of the next route I'm going to throw, and then hopefully if I have any of the route left, it's daytime, hopefully, crossing fingers, I get to some daytime footage. This particular route, I usually throw it within like about an hour and 40 minutes, 45 minutes. So we'll see. You know, once the sun rises, I'll definitely bring you all back on. Don't forget to any questions you may have. Like I said, I've been doing this for like 5 or 6 months. the people I work for have been doing it for literally, some of them have been in the industry all their whole career, 30, 40 years. So any questions that you may have, I definitely, just, drop, write it in the comments. Make sure to get back to you. Of course, like the video again, just something. I know people are always looking for different ways to, make a little bit of extra money. And again, this is my preferred method just because, it doesn't really take away from family time. It's a Sunday morning that I'm doing this, so, like I said, great thing is, not during the week. I work a full-time job Monday through Friday. So what I'll do is I'll record a little bit of the next route while it's still, dark, just so you all can kind of see what's going on. And then, of course, once day breaks, I'll go ahead and put a little bit up, just so you can kind of see what's going on during the day. But other than that, I will get back at you.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company.
All right.
Not available in all states. For details,
So I just finished my last route. Well, my first route. I'm sorry. Just finished my first route. I'm gonna get ready to pull up to the gas station here. I usually do a refill on coffee here, but I'm just gonna just give you all just a few quick pictures of kind of what my car looks like. So of course, like, my front seat is clear because I've cleared everything out now. So first route being done, but just to give you an idea of what I usually will put my papers in. Again, Sunday is more of a special day just because the papers are a lot bigger. So of course, it's important to be accessible. That means you need a whole lot of these little whole lot of boxes and stuff. Boxes, crates, bags. You could roll up, use a lot of different things. So show you all here real quick before I reorganize my car for the second route here. So daytime, try not to speed. It's the only bad thing when it gets daylight. You gotta kind of watch yourself. People usually come out in the community, they're walking and slow down. That happens. I have Sirius XM radio. It helps pass the time a lot faster. That's something I would recommend getting. You know, a lot of variety. So most of where I'm throwing these papers, yeah, I didn't even go over that. So most of where I am throwing the papers are usually right on people's driveway. So that's usually the default. The company I work for, I know we do take some requests. There may be some direction on where to throw them. Or, you know, someone's handicapped, you may have to get out of the car and go walk to them. Or walk to the door. So that does happen. It's not all the time, but it does happen.
Traffic everywhere, and I'm getting out and there's a gentleman and his two kids. They're in their Lakers car. And again, I don't know in college, but I don't know. I'm prepared to be seen for what's going on in the mornings. And he said, hey, did you go to New York? I said, yeah. He said, he said, no, LeBron is here, the Lakers. I took my daughter to the right now. This guy, this dad, for my sports papers, and this nine-year-old daughter. So, yeah, and then obviously there's this argument going on there. So, but I'm here inside the Tulane University in the press box at the baseball stadium that we don't miss on. Full breakdown of that coming up. Looking forward to it. So, we get good. Good. I'm ready to go. We're talking about chicken breakdowns. I'm loving that. As you know, all of us can break dance, by the way. So for me, I feel like if this break dance thing happens in the Olympics like they're talking about, there will be a team from Milwaukee representing the United States. And I guarantee you, man, we might not get gold, but we're going to see bronze. I guarantee that. Well, and as you know, if there's break dancing,
Jump out the car here real quick. Basketball. Like I already cleared out most of these.
We have so much to do. We can't wait to get the job boys. That will be later on. As we were just dying, we should have gone on live here as we never for their last 1 minute. But we need to get to some NBA stuff that actually happened on the floor as part of our Sunday night.
do you think Rockets played in this game without the big support? Is there a possibility of most of our pull that down the park out?
Well, that'll be a big style there. That's the thing that you look at. I don't know. They played hard. Regular. They scored. We had 17 turnovers. We didn't run back in transition. So, doing what we're trying to do. We got to put forward for effort. It takes to win night in and night out. Let our guard down.
Let's look at jokes. Oh, this background of Rockets now is in the camps. Let's have a serious conversation. Let's remember that this is, you can't hide the fact that they beat 3 times this year, once without James Harden, once without Chris Paul, and they were up the last 2 minutes over the Warriors. But Paul missed game 6 and 7. So, at some point, you have to declare Rockets. I didn't know you had. I mean, Georgia. What the Rockets does is a legitimate threat, if not on par. If the Warriors consider how they played it, and that doesn't mean that you can see the Warriors because we'll see. But I mean, right there, I think that the Warriors need to get that point.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, right now, about 7 years here. We're talking like the Sound and the NBA Rockets and stuff like that. The Warriors in regular season, they did a lot harder. In this game, they did a lot Paul in the first game. That means something. But they weren't great team. The problem I have is this year's Rockets team were good numbers. Last year, they were top 10 in defensive efficiency.
So this area I'm delivering in, this is like right around a golf course. So I'm actually getting ready to do a job. So this will be a great example. Like I guess they usually have a couple of the papers at the country club. So I'll get out the car and I'll just, sit them on the table. Typically, I'll deliver here. Funny thing is, I'm actually almost done with this route. Typically, the route's a little bit longer because, like I said, throughout the week, at least the company I work for, we also deliver Wall Street Journals, but Wall Street Journal's not printed on Sunday. So for these routes that I deliver, a lot of times I actually save a lot of time because I usually deliver about 50 to 60 Wall Streets.
James Harden. First of all, you don't know how serious this stuff is. Everybody says that right now, there are 100 kids out of my kids. Every there is a year. So I will find stop it. You're right. Secondarily, Chris Paul, that 17 years last night, yes, they're a little everyone's money. Right defense, Chris Paul, bandwagon. I'm not sure I want that part. Well, listen, he flopped on the foul. It was like multiple point and closer. It's just flying across the court, man. You get knocked away. They are a good team against the Warriors, but let's not wipe away all of the bad they've done this year in terms of just their up and down play. This is a great team against the Warriors. They have been consistent. The radio and the ESPN app search out channel 80. All his friends by his John Pennzoil performance line. That was the NBA used last night. There was really much stuff we have to get to up next, including
One thing I do recommend, if you do decide to take a job like this or to do this, always be safe. And I'll just be straight honest. Like, if you're not like a great driver, then I'd recommend one or two things. I'd recommend one, if you're not a great driver, and you just need the money, take your time doing the job. I know here and there you may see me just kind of, just moving right along. But one thing I recommend is definitely just take your time. Nobody wants to get hurt. It's not worth getting leading to an accident. Of course, if you're hurt, then of course you can't work. So definitely take your time doing the job. Or, you know, utilize having a partner. One of the great benefits of having a partner sometimes is, you know, if one of you all have to be out, especially if you're a contractor, because if you're doing it 7 days a week, it may just be beneficial for you to have somebody else that knows the route. But of course, if you have a partner, then it means one can drive, one can just throw papers. And like I said, having 4 hands is a lot better than just having 2. So it definitely always works out a little bit better. Trying to think of anything else any value I can add for you all.
It's time to coast the track. SiriusXM NASCAR Radio's got you covered. Tune in to SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. Or just on your phone with the Power Car with SiriusXM. We're back on track. With Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series 19.
People walking their dogs.
Motor Speedway on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. On NASCAR Channel 90.
This February, history will be made. Millions will watch as 80 years of unjust stigma is left in the past. A crime that drove good people to the black market will be revealed as others creating a new global market. This
Think of anything else I can think of.
symbol of counterculture. Will at long last be symbols of just culture.
Hopefully, you know, this video gave you a little bit of insight of, you know, if you were to be a contractor or you were to, you know, throw papers, just give you a little bit of insight on what it is that you do, how you do it. Again, you know, like the video, comment, any questions you may have. Definitely just, you know, don't be afraid to post. The job's not hard, but it is somewhat hard at first. If that makes sense. But again, these are just one of those odd jobs that's out there that people just don't. It's not something that people are sitting around thinking about. You know, every time, you know, people always are, you know, anybody that's working or thinking of, you know, getting extra money. This probably isn't the number one thing they're thinking of, unless they subscribe to the paper. You know, if they subscribe to the paper, then yeah, maybe something that you know about. But I know it wasn't something I even thought about. So I think this is, like I said, it's a great way to make extra income. I remember what I wanted to mention earlier. So of course, this is also a good way to add to your income, or I mean fund other things that you're doing. So I do a couple of things, be like online, and this has definitely by far helped so much, because of course I don't have to take away from my family to do it, as far as like, you know, the money that I use for my family. So it's really, really cool that I don't have to utilize funds.
I think we just ran out of time.
It's time for my brakes to get checked. To give y'all a view of where we're at before I sign off. Those are the mountains there. As you can see, these are homes. So I'm pretty much at the end of the route anyway, so I'm getting ready to throw probably about 10 more papers. Only thing I can think of that I did not share was both of the routes that I threw had maybe about 180 to 200 papers. So So I know the number can definitely seem overwhelming, but believe it or not, it definitely goes by faster than you think. But of course, like I said, if you have any questions, any concerns, anything that you can think of that comes to mind, like I said, don't be afraid to leave a comment. We're more than happy to answer, and hopefully I can provide you some value in the comment section. But again, just thanks for tuning in, and hopefully I'll be able to come up with some additional jobs, odd jobs, some additional things that can produce income outside of maybe your ordinary income or your full-time job. Thanks again for tuning in. You all have a great day.